It doesn't matter what comes out because I always edit it before I.
Yeah. It's the beauty in having it. Yeah.
Is that lotus
All right.
root in the...
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening.
I'm very happy
It's the
to
only
see you all
vegetable
here.
that's not.
I was going to say, where
And
did
it's
you
good
get
to
it?
be back in
Where
the
did you get
swing of
it?
things
Oh,
after our long hiatus due to circumstances. Well, you know, they change. Anyway, we're going to do facial diagnosis. Now, the thing is, she's not here tonight, so I can say this freely. I will mention her name. But it shocked me when she said, this was on Facebook, that she couldn't do her medical checkup at Kaiser because her doctor was sick. And I thought to myself, what the hell do you need a medical checkup for? You know?
Did you see my response?
No, I didn't. What did you say?
I said that was actually, something beautiful in disguise. You know? It was the
Blessing in
universe.
disguise.
Oh no, I said it was the universe tapping you on the shoulder, reminding you to take responsibility for your health.
Right, because the thing is, the medical system basically doesn't have a clue what it's doing, as far as health and disease and illness. It has no option but not to have a clue. Okay, it does not know what's going on. It's all pretty superficial. And the fundamental thing about the macrobiotic way of life, which is what it is that it's a way of life whereby we take total responsibility for ourselves in every respect, in every domain of existence, and we are totally independent and self-reliant and are resourceful in knowing how to deal with whatever situation comes up. But the situations, life is a very interesting experience because it is a bed of roses, but people forget that every rose has its thorn. So there's difficulties and obstacles and sidetracks and diversions and dead ends and traps all along the way. And all these are designed to keep us on our toes, essentially. I mean, I'm just kind of, paraphrasing stuff. And so the thing is with the macrobiotic way of life, it is an art form, and the art is our life, the way we live. That's the art form itself. And eating the macrobiotic food is just not enough. It's just not enough. Okay, eating the macrobiotic way of eating is like somebody saying they want to build a magnificent house. And they set out and put a floor plan together, and then they start their macrobiotic way of eating, which is basically building the foundation. That's it. That's all it does. And what's the point of building a foundation if you don't build a house on it? Nobody in their right mind would do that. So we have to do other things in addition to the way of eating in order to maximize the full potential that is inherent in the macrobiotic way of life. And that's limitless. It's fundamentally limitless. There's no limit to it. And so one of the major points that I always keep going back to all the time is we have to know the fundamentals. We have to get the fundamentals right. If you look at any human endeavor, it's the people that do well are the ones that do the fundamental right. Whether it's baseball or hockey or building a bridge or composing a piece of music or playing the guitar, you have to have the fundamentals down, otherwise you're not going to make it. And one of the things about the fundamentals is, to get it done right, you have to practice every day. You got to practice every day to hone the skills, to hone the art that we have. Now, one of the fundamentals of macrobiotic way of life is self-diagnosis. How do we diagnose our condition? Because if we learn how to do that properly, not only can we help ourselves immeasurably, because we can look at, everybody looks in the mirror every day, and it's unavoidable. right?
Unless you don't look.
I mean, you gotta brush your teeth, comb your hair, you know, shave, do the makeup. So you look in the mirror,
You don't have
right?
to.
So now you learn to look in the mirror in a different way. Because what you're looking at is, okay, what's my condition today? I mean, in terms of self-diagnosis, the major self-diagnostic tools in addition to facial diagnosis is urination, your urine, what it looks like, and your bowel movement. And those are the three main ones. So I'm not going to talk about the other two, because I've talked about them before, and no doubt I'll talk about them again in another context. And so we need to concentrate on facial diagnosis. Now, facial diagnosis is not the only form of self-diagnosis. I mean, there's many more. But, I mean, like there's meridian diagnosis, you know, the meridians that are running down here. And there's joint diagnosis, there's voice diagnosis, there's hot and cold diagnosis, there's posture diagnosis, there's skin diagnosis, eye diagnosis, iridology, there's a ton. I think there's about 18 of them. But the only one we really need to understand and know how to do is facial diagnosis, because everybody has a face, and we can look at everybody's faces, including our own, every day. Because you see people all the time, in one form or another, you know, whether you're at work or on the bus or in the cafe, or you're watching TV, or you're looking at a newspaper. There are people's faces everywhere. And so there's your laboratory, there's your study. And it's a really fascinating study. And we can learn a great deal of, not only about ourselves, by learning how to do facial diagnosis, but we can learn a great deal about the state of the world by doing facial diagnosis, because the condition of the people is reflected accurately in their faces every day. And it doesn't lie. No, the facial diagnosis doesn't lie. It tells you exactly what's going on, and it's very accurate. It's very, very accurate. It's not precise in the diagnostic sense that medical science is, but it's more accurate. It is actually more accurate. And it doesn't fib, you know, it doesn't sort of give you false, what do they call them? False results, false positives. That's what they call them, right? When you do these tests in the lab, false positives. Give me a break. Yeah, there's no false positive about
False negatives. False negatives.
The body does not lie, your face. Well, the book that Micho wrote, if you can get that book, Your Face Never Lies, that is probably the premier book on facial diagnosis, in addition to
Healing Ourselves?
Healing Ourselves, Noburamoto, one of the outstanding classics of all literature of all time, despite what he had to say about it. And if you can get it, the Book of Oriental Diagnosis, How to See Your Health, by Michio Kushi. Those are probably the three main ones. Okay, now, what is the principle of facial diagnosis? This drawing on the board here, the whiteboard, is called the analemma. It's actually a drawing of the passage of the sun as it goes through its yearly round. You know, that's the figure it makes in the sky during the course of the year, and it's called the analemma. And the human body is like a picture of the analemma, and in this case, the top circle is our head, and the bottom circle is our body, because in this way of looking at the human organism, and there's many, many ways of looking at the human organism, and this is only one of them. This is where we see that the human head is a expression of the human body. But in this case, the human head is a 1/7 approximately condensed expression of the human body, and the human body is a 7 times expanded expression of the human head. Now, the head, in terms of our development as beings, because we're both cosmic beings and earthly beings, when we pass through the gate of death, during the course between the passage through the gate of death and the re-entry into the world in the next incarnation, in the passage between death and rebirth, a monumental event takes place where, spiritually speaking, the limbs that we have now become our head. And the head, as we see it, as we look at each other's head, our head points to our past incarnation, and the limbs that we have today point to the next one, the future incarnation. So, the head, being a 1/7 condensed more yang expression of the body, means that the lower limb are the lower jaw, the upper limb are the upper jaw, and the chest is the skull. And within the skull, the nervous tissue, the central nervous system, every single bit of nervous tissue is a nervous tissue expression of each of the organs of the body. So, in terms of mental problems, our taking care of our physical organs will necessarily take care of our central nervous system organ, which corresponds to, say, the lungs and large intestine, or the kidney, or the bladder, or the stomach, or the spleen, or the liver, or whatever. Because every single one of these up here, inside there, is an expression of one of the metabolic, digestive metabolic organs, and the thoracic organs. So, one of the things we should find happening when we start to embark on our macrobiotic way of eating is our mental clarity improves dramatically. We become much clearer in our thinking. You know, we've stopped taking alcohol. I don't understand people in macrobiotics who drink alcohol. Well, I do in a sense of yin and yang, but I mean in terms of the philosophical idea behind drinking alcohol is totally contradictory to macrobiotic practice. It really is. But a lot of people justify it, you know, because the alcohol is made from, I mean, beer is made from grain. Wine is made from grapes, and so forth and so on.
It's just fermented sugar.
That's what it is. It's refined fermented sugar. And so that means the yin-yang balances out. If you have to have recourse to that, there's something on the yang side that you're not doing correctly, which makes us attracted to having the alcohol. So we stopped taking drugs, because when I started macrobiotics, I was taking drugs. In fact, I continued to use drugs. When did I start? 1975. Yeah, so I stopped using drugs in 76. So I started in November 75. When did I start? No, it wasn't 76. Must have been 77. No, it was 76. In July of 76.
Drugs, I can't remember.
July of 76, right? So that was what? And I didn't want to stop taking drugs. Yeah, I did not. No way. I was a really big aficionado of dope and hashish and all that stuff. But I stopped, just naturally. I wasn't Now, why did I stop? Because I wasn't attracted to it anymore. The yin-yang dynamic that had been established, which attracts us to eating, taking in substances like LSD and psilocybin and hashish and alcohol, that is predicated upon eating of meat and animal products. And I stopped eating it.